Who lied to you and told you you had to be perfect to follow God? Because that's just not true. If perfection was the requirement, then none of us will be able to follow God. None of us will be worthy. Not even the pastor that you think has it all together. We live in a world that's drowning in pressure. You've got men working two jobs to provide for their families, and they feel like failures because they can't buy their kids the newest Jordans. You've got guys struggling with things like addiction, anger issues, and lust. And in the back of their heads, they're thinking, how could I possibly follow God if I'm so messed up? How can I possibly open up a Bible or pray when I'm anything but perfect? Let me break this down. Look at the men in the Bible. David, bro, he committed murder and adultery, and they still call him a man of God. Moses killed a guy and ran away for years, and God still used him to lead a whole nation. Peter denied Jesus 3 times, and he was still the rock that the church was built on. These weren't perfect men. These were real men with real struggles, just like you. Somewhere along the line, Christianity got twisted into this perfectionist performance act. Like, oh, you can't pray because you cursed someone out in traffic yesterday. Or, oh, you can't pray because you're still struggling with that addiction. Let me tell you, that's not faith. That's fear talking. God isn't asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be willing. You don't clean up before you shower, right? That's what God's grace is for. God asks you to come as you are, struggling, doubting, full of fear, muddy, dirty, covered in sin. He says to come as you are, not be perfect, live your life a certain way, then come pray, then come ask for my help, then come seek my guidance. Come as you are, even if you feel broken, because that's where God meets you. It's in the struggle where God works. That's where he shows his strength when we feel that we are at our weakest. Stop thinking you've got to fix yourself before you follow God. He's the one that does the fixing. Start small. Just talk to him. No script, no fancy words, just honesty. Say, God, I'm struggling. Help me. That's it. That's all you got to say. That right there, that one sentence is the foundation and the start where God can finally start to work his magic in your life and make you a better person or help remove the things that you're struggling with from your life. You don't have to be perfect to follow God. In fact, it's because you're not perfect that you need him. Don't worry about anybody who tells you otherwise. Forget them. God's calling you just as you are. The only question is, will you answer or not? I get it. Everywhere you look, there's pressure to be perfect. At work, on social media, and even in your relationships. We're constantly comparing ourselves to other people's highlight reels. But the truth is, the perfection you see online is an illusion. God isn't scrolling Instagram looking for influencers. He's looking at your heart. Think about this. How many times have you felt like you couldn't show your flaws to anyone? At work, you pretend everything's fine when you're really drowning in stress. You come home and you bottle up your emotions inside because you feel like you can't express yourself the way that you want to. With your friends, you act like you've got it all together because you're scared of their judgment. Let me tell you, God doesn't judge you the way that people do. He sees past the mask. He sees past all the emotions that you have bottled up inside. And God has been with you every step of the way through every struggle, whether you realize it or not. Sometimes he's just waiting on you to pick up the phone and answer the call. Some people think that they'll come to God when they've cleaned up their act. Oh, I'll go to church when I stop drinking, or I'll start praying when I do a little better in my life. But here's the problem with that. Life doesn't wait until you're ready. God doesn't ask you to be ready. He asks you to be real. It's like waiting to go to the gym until you're already in shape. You're missing the whole point. The gym is where you get stronger, and God is where you get healed. That's why God gives us grace. He knows that every single one of us wasn't born perfect. But God's grace isn't an excuse to mess up. God's grace is saying, I know that you're going to fail, and I'm here to pick you up every single time that you do. Imagine a dad teaching a kid how to ride a bike. He knows the kid's going to fall. It's inevitable. He's never rode a bike before. But do you think that the dad gives up or that he allows his child to give up every time that he falls off the bike? No. He says, let's get up, let's dust ourselves off, and let's try again. That's how God's grace works. Following God doesn't mean that your life will be perfect, but it does mean that you won't have to go through life's storms alone anymore. You won't have to shoulder those burdens that are too heavy for you to carry on your own, because now you've got somebody in your corner who can carry every burden in the world and then some. Everything that you're ashamed of, everything that you don't want to admit to yourself, God knows it all already. It means you'll have a peace that is so good it doesn't make sense. You'll have a hope that doesn't fade and a purpose that gives your life meaning. If you're watching this, it's not by accident. Maybe God is trying to get your attention right now. So stop running, stop hiding, and stop waiting to be perfect. Start today. Start where you are and watch what God can do in your life when you allow him to. you got any value from this video, hit that like and subscribe button for me. And as always, God bless y'all. Peace.